California has a tremendous opportunity to lead the nation away from its overwhelming dependence on oil. How are we going to do this? A major part of the answer is to deploy zero-emission vehicles that do not rely on oil. Yet the transition will not be an easy task. Gasoline is everywhere, and complacency in the status quo is incredibly convenient. There are over 30 million cars on the road in California, and the vast majority of them run on petroleum. We have zero-emission vehicle technology and supporting infrastructure available today, but to achieve widespread adoption, ZEVs must meet the driving demands of all consumers. We do not have one single solution that can replace all of today's petroleum-powered vehicles, but we do have a complementary portfolio of solutions that can. This includes the battery electric vehicle, the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, and the hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle. The recent re-emergence of battery electric vehicles has shown that they will play a large role in the transition of California away from fossil fuels. BEVs are simply amazing. They allow drivers to recharge at home for little cost, offer tremendous acceleration in driving performance, and emit zero tailpipe emissions. However, they are not expected to meet the needs of all drivers. Hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicles are the perfect zero-emissions complement to BEVs. Fuel cell vehicles fill the gaps in current BEV technology that might cause some consumers to pass on zero-emissions driving. Fuel cell vehicle technology can be scaled up easily to meet the demands of people with a need for larger vehicles. These vehicles can be refueled in less than 3 minutes and offer ranges comparable to today's petroleum vehicles. The ability to replace large vehicles with ZEVs is critical. The larger vehicle class accounts for 1.5 times as many emissions on a per-vehicle basis. The fact remains that most truck and SUV drivers do not have the flexibility to downsize into smaller vehicles. Currently, fuel cells are the only technology that is expected to be able to cost-effectively replace larger vehicle engines and significantly cut down on the emissions from them. Cost of ownership is a major consideration. When comparing ZEV technologies, fuel cell electric vehicles are expected to be cheaper than BEVs in the large vehicle class, about the same for mid-sized cars, while BEVs will be cheaper in the small car segment. Much of this cost disparity is due to the high cost of batteries. The environmental performance of BEVs and fuel cells is strikingly similar. Both driving platforms use electric propulsion to power the vehicle and generate zero tailpipe emissions. Today, based on the California grid mix of electricity and the mix of hydrogen production sources, both BEVs and fuel cells cut greenhouse gas emissions by 50%. Both technologies will only get cleaner over time, with the potential for zero emissions on a well-to-wheel basis. While the commercialization target of fuel cell vehicles is a few years behind its battery electric counterpart, most major automakers have plans to commercialize the fuel cell electric vehicle by 2015. Furthermore, infrastructure is being developed worldwide with a focus in California, Germany, Korea, Japan, Scandinavia, and Hawaii. The cost of fuel cell vehicle technology has come down drastically in the past decade. A typical prototype vehicle has gone from over $1 million in 2003 to just over $100,000 today. With increasing economies of scale, industry predicts that fuel cell electric vehicles will be cost competitive with other advanced clean vehicles by 2015. The global demand for oil has never been higher, and with emerging power countries like India and China growing at an exponential rate, we can only assume demand will continue to increase while supply remains limited. In contrast, the cost of hydrogen fuel is on a downward trend with multiple domestic sources of production. The National Academy of Sciences estimates that the cost of full infrastructure build-out is about the same for plug-in and hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicles. To put these costs in perspective, on a per-year basis, hydrogen and electric build-out would be far less than the typical subsidy given to the corn and ethanol industry. Can we afford to transition to both battery electric and fuel cell electric vehicles? How can we afford not?